Hey everyone, welcome. So in this video we are going to solve the problem longest consecutive sequence. So the problem states that we are given an unsorted array of integers and we have to return the length of the longest consecutive element sequence. And a straightforward approach what we would generally think is we can just sort the array and then iterate the array linearly to find out the longest consecutive sequence. But they specifically told us that we have to use the algorithm which runs in linear time. Hence, we come up with a we come up with an approach using sets in Python. So the way we would solve this particular problem is that assume this is our input data. So we know that the longest consecutive sequence here is 9, right? So the way we would solve is we try to identify the start of the chain or the start of the longest consecutive sequence. We can have multiple. In this example, we just have one. So what I do is I check if there is any number before 1 which is present. So initially I'd push all of these elements into a set. So in my set I have all these numbers and then I check if 0 is present in the set already. If 0 is not present in the set, I would consider this as start of my chain and then I keep on running a while loop to check if the next element is present in the chain. If the next element is present in the set, I'd add it to my output and then I'd move on. Similarly, I'll check if 3 is in the set, I'd increase the output plus 1. If 4 is in this, I'd increase it to plus 2, 5 plus 3 and so on. So by doing this, I'll get an output of 9. And then when I go to the second element, when I'm iterating through this list, right? So when I go to the second element, I check if the previous element is present in the set or not. If the previous element is present in the set, this means that I'm not at the start of my chain. So I just move to the next element without doing anything here. Similarly, I skip all the elements. So that is why I iterate through the entire chain just once. So that is why the solution is linear. Consider there are two chains, right? So initially I take one, I check that 0 is not present in the set. I add one, I add one, I add one, I add one. So I get one chain and I get the output as 5. Similarly, I go to 11. I see that there is no 10 present in the set. So I add one, I add one, I add one, I add one. I get 5 here as well. But for 12, 13, 14, 15, I just skip it because the previous elements are present in the set. So here, effectively, even though I'm running a while loop inside the for loop, I'm iterating all the number of elements linearly just once. That is, I am iterating through this chain once and then I'm iterating through this chain once. So that is why this algorithm has a complexity of big of n, where n is the number of elements present in the list. So now let's just code the solution. So for this, I'll just have to create a set s equal to set, and then for I in nums is dot add of I. So I've added all the elements into the set. Once this is done, now I iterate through all the elements once for I in nums. I just have to check if the previous element is already present in the set or not. So even if it is not present in the set, that means that it is my first element of the chain, and from there on I have to create a while loop and then add the solution. So what I would do is uh, if I minus 1 not in S, if it is not present inside, then I start running my while loop while I plus 1 in S. As long as we have I plus 1, I can have an answer here declared 0, and for every number I'll have a temporary answer. And if I don't find the element, and if the next element is present in the set, just keep on 1 and then I increment I by 1 as well. And then after this while loop is done, I'll just update the answer, the max of answer comma my temporary answer. And I think it should work. Just check this works. Okay, so I added answer plus 1 because I ignored the initial size, which is 1. So that is why I just return answer plus 1. Just submit and check. So yeah, instead of adding answer plus 1, I just have to check the current length, which is 1, and then I keep on adding 1 to the current length, and I keep on incrementing my number, and then I just create a global max. So this is the simple solution. See you in the next one.